I'm Nigel Slater. I don't think cooking needs to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest combinations will produce the most stunning results. And that's what this series is all about. Think surf and turf, soft and crisp, sweet and sour.
It's light when it's fresh, and it's hot when it's cold, and there's all sorts of things going on, all of which I love.
I'll be reinventing old favourites and trying something completely new.
And that's when it's sensational, and that's when it really, really works.
Once you understand the reasons certain combinations work so well, I hope I'll inspire you to be creative too.
It's truly, truly gorgeous.
Today is all about spicy and cool. A great curry can be given a cooling note with something creamy, but I want to see how spices can work in some unexpected dishes, like puddings, and how a refreshing salad can cool down some fiery meat. And I want to see how other cooks make fabulous and simple food combinations too.
Oh my goodness. Whenever I think of spices, particularly the really hot ones, I think of curry. And I do like my curries hot. But best of all, I like them when that heat is tempered with something cooling.
This chicken and chilli dish is a really special supper. It takes a bit more time than just phoning for a takeaway, but it's a glorious treat and hard to get wrong. It's much easier than you'd think to make a curry from scratch. I start by making a spice paste. I'm using lemongrass and ginger for a touch of heat.
And of course, the real heat comes from chilies. I tend to leave the seeds in when I make a curry, which will mean that it has got more spice to it, more heat. But if you take them out, you'll get a milder effect. I always like some garlic in my curries as a back note. The great thing about recipes like this is that once you've made one, they become your own. And you decide whether you want it gingery, whether you want it lemony, hotter, cooler, whatever. It's suddenly your recipe.
I almost always put coriander in a curry. You know what? You can use mint too. And I want a citrus flavour in there. And for me, that means lime.
So the lime zest goes into the spice paste, but then I use the juice in small amounts just to adjust the flavour of the whole thing at the end.
It might seem like a lot of ingredients, but whizzing it up is just a matter of seconds.
I'm going to put in a little bit of seasoning, some fish sauce, and a little bit of dark soy.
Finally, the spice paste needs something cooling and sweet.
I'm going to use fresh tomatoes. And a good hot curry always works when you've got something fruity in there.
Today I've got some chicken thighs in the fridge. And I'm going to brown them in a shallow pan in a little sunflower oil.
All I want to do is just get the outside a little bit crisp.
Once the chicken's browned, I don't need all the fat that's left in the pan, but I'll leave a little to fry the spice paste. This will take the raw edge from the garlic and ginger.
And straight away I can almost smell the heat. And what I want is something to temper that heat, to soften it. Because the heart and soul of this recipe is Southeast Asian, I'm using their cooling ingredient, which is coconut milk. I want this to bubble gently for about 15 to 20 minutes until the chicken's cooked through. There's a moment when I really love a curry, and it's when you get something really refreshing, something fruity involved. What happens is you get a mouthful of real searing heat, and then you get this cooling, fresh fruit as well. It's just wonderful.
And a squeeze of lime juice will make the sauce sing.
It just needs one last little thing, and that's a handful of cooling green coriander.
This is a one-pot wonder. Cook and serve straight from the pan. Add some rice or naan if you like, to mop up that spicy, fragrant sauce.
The chili flavour is there, and the heat, but it just works beautifully with that coconut milk. It really works.
I've used chicken, but you could make a curry like this with any of your favourite vegetables, fish or meat. Just make the dish your own. Spicy and cool is a favourite combination around the world. It's why spicy meat's so wonderful served with a trickle of yoghurt, or goulash works with a sauce rich with paprika and cream.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
But I want to bring this closer to home and try the contrasting partnership in something slightly sinful.
The more healthy our main course is, the more I feel the need for a slightly naughty pudding. Those wonderful nursery puddings that I miss so much. And nothing more so than a good old rice pudding.
Homemade is miles better than the canned stuff. And it's such a simple pudding. If you've never made it before, give it a try. You won't regret it.
And I make it the way my mum made it, with a little bit of milk and a little bit of water.
I think it makes for a lighter pudding. You can use just milk if you prefer.
I want to try adding a few spices. Maybe with some sticky fruits in it from the cupboard. By adding a little bit of something spicy, some preserved ginger, it might bring a whole new feel to what is actually a very well-known pud. Always reminds me of Christmas, preserved ginger. But it's actually there all year. And it's got a certain heat to it. It's got a very sweet, gentle warmth, and it's really rather beautiful. And it's one of those ingredients that's a pleasure to chop. So I've chosen ginger, but I actually could have used other spices too. Ground cardamom is always lovely with rice, as is a little bit of nutmeg. When the rice and the milk starts to come to the boil, you need to turn the heat really, really low as it can go, so that there's just a little bit of movement in the milk. Give it about 15 minutes.
As well as the spicy ginger, I want some fruit in the pudding. You could add currants or any of your favourite dried fruits, but I'm using glacé fruit pieces, which are really juicy.
And the colours are very beautiful, almost like stained glass windows.
I'm also going to add some fresh orange and lemon zest.
So after about 15 minutes, give it a quick stir. And it's starting to thicken.
Now's the time to add some sugar. How much is up to you, but I reckon a couple of tablespoons is about right.
And then the fruits. Spicy ginger, the cut peel, and the grated zest. So I'm just going to leave that with the heat off and the lid on, just so the rice and the milk and all the sweet spicy things get to know one another.
always thought that spices are the most romantic ingredients in the kitchen. It's something about the exotic places they come from. I've come to the port of Bristol, a place that's been importing spices since the Middle Ages, to meet a man who's mad about ships and spices.
When I was 18, I sailed across the Atlantic over to Granada, and I just didn't realise there was sort of this world of spices, if you like, in Granada. And so I was really interested in spices from that moment. I just really got into pepper and sort of fancied myself as a pepper connoisseur.
Tom Alcott is passionate about pepper, and he's going to cook me a dish to showcase an ingredient so often taken for granted.
It's the most important spice, it's the king of spices. It's the most important spice, you put it in nearly every meal, and you've had it since childhood. I think people have sort of forgotten it. So I think what I'd like to do is to put it back on its throne as the king of spices, because it really is quite special. The most interesting spice here, without a doubt, is this one, long pepper. You know, right up until the sort of late 17th, 18th century, this was the only pepper that was imported. And the reason I'm going to cook with this, there's much more cinnamon and nutmeg flavour already in there, so you don't need to overdo it with the other spices.
Tom's a keen sailor, and his best mate John is the skipper and builder of this beautiful boat. I'm fascinated by Tom's knowledge of spices and can't wait to find out what he's going to cook for me.
Main sheet off, Tom.
Sorry, yeah, okay.
All I know is that it's pepper with soft fruit.
How do you use pepper with soft fruit?
Pepper goes obviously well with strawberries, and that's a traditional thing, but it's worth exploring all the different types of soft fruit that you can have it with. So a raspberry sorbet, or a strawberry ice cream, or peaches. It's just really nice.
I'm intrigued, but not completely convinced.
You can actually put quite a lot of pepper in there. On its own, it's quite a strong thing, but if you mix it with cream, the cream will coat your palate and will take the edge off the pungency, if you like. You know, be bold and just experience the full flavour of it, really. Little green cardamoms, crack them open.
I have to say, my favourite spice.
You get this wonderful, wonderful aroma.
So we've got classic black peppercorns, Tom's special long pepper, and cardamom.
What I'm going to do is just put some of the vanilla in. It's quite expensive, but it's worth it. A little bit of sugar, just to add a bit of flavour.
I'm looking at your collection of mills, and I've seen you use a pestle and mortar. Are you, because I'm very fond of my pepper mill. I love it deeply. Are you saying that I shouldn't be using it?
Pepper mills are great, and they're convenient, and pepper's obviously used in the kitchen and on the table, you know, so it needs to be in two places at once. So the pestle and mortar goes in the kitchen, the mill goes on the table, but just keep refilling it regularly. So it's a bit rough and ready here, but that's how you eat at sea. What fruit would you like? Raspberries, peach, nectarine? Raspberries.
Love them.
So what I'll do, just top it off, just because it's always nice to have a little bit of icing on the soft fruits. Not too much. It's easy to put too much on. Go for it.
Why am I slightly scared? Oh my goodness.
It's really nice, isn't it? Lovely. I could easily eat too much.
What's so interesting about this, for me, is where you don't get everything all at once. You get something at first, and then gradually, slowly, as you've eaten it, you get more and more different bits, different flavours, different hits, actually.
The pungency comes in later, and then the crunchy sugar, the long pepper, the nutmegs, the cinnamons. And it's not overpowering, is it? I mean, in the cream, it could be a lot stronger.
It's not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting something I couldn't cope with. It's like a little bit of an adventure, actually, and somehow slightly appropriate on this journey.
I've been cooking all my life, but I'm still learning about new flavours. It's so important to keep an open mind. Why not check out the website for more inspiration?
I really like cooking out of doors, but what I love about it is actually the smell of the food as much as the taste. But all the flavourings that I've put with it catch slightly on the grill, and you get that smoky, spicy, aromatic smell.
The principle of this particular contrast being so simple, there's little point in getting complicated with the recipe. Hence my barbecued lamb steaks and refreshing pomegranate salad. For this dish, I'm going to be making a marinade to coat the lamb, starting with a clove of garlic.
That whole thing of something very garlicky being cooked over hot coals, it's one of those smells that just brings you to the table, and everybody else usually as well.
A pinch of salt helps to mash the garlic to a paste.
Already that smells wonderful.
Crush black peppercorns into crunchy lumps and add coriander seeds for a citrus back note that works so well with smoky flavours.
There is nothing at all sophisticated about barbecue cooking, and I don't think there should be either.
I'll get a blast of heat from some smoked paprika, and finally, a splash of olive oil will help the spices stick to the lamb.
I just spread the spice paste over the meat on both sides.
Leave the spicy steaks to marinate for as long as you can, to really let the flavours soak in. To stand up to the fiery flavours of the meat, I need a really refreshing contrast. A crunchy salad will work perfectly.
So whereas this is all toasty, it's crusted, it's spicy, it's dark, there's that little flavour of smoke running through it, this has to be very light, very refreshing, very cool.
Chunks of cool cucumber to start, and then add pomegranate seeds.
Although the seeds have a pleasing bitterness to them, and the juice is quite sour, the white pith really isn't very nice. So I check that there's none in the salad.
Finally, some mint, the most cooling of the herbs.
So the lamb's nice and toasty. And then always, with grilled food, coarse flakes of salt. Big flavours for outdoors. The lamb's really hot, mouth-poppingly hot. And then you get this super cool salad of pomegranate and cucumber. And the whole thing just works together on the plate. Really very good.
I've transformed a barbecue dish into a very special supper indeed. I could have cooked this under a blistering grill or on a really hot griddle, but there's something very alluring about cooking in the garden. I'm in Bristol with sailor and pepper fan Tom on board his friend John's
A bit more
boat.
forward.
I'm cooking hot and spicy prawns served with salad. Really easy to make at home, but slightly more tricky in this tiny galley kitchen.
How much cooking do you do down here?
I'm not a great cook. There you go, it's a light now.
Tom, have you shared any of these gorgeous meals?
I have eaten a few of John's meals, but to be fair, all we had was a packet of crisps the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Nothing wrong with a packet of crisps.
Now, what you did for me was very subtle, was extraordinarily subtle. What I'm doing for you is almost the opposite. You know, you just need something spicy.
Yeah.
Usually kind of very late at night.
Yeah.
And it is just some prawns and an absolutely standard chilli sauce, a sweet chilli sauce. It's that thing of balancing or toning down something very hot and very spicy with something cool. And
I mean, you use the cream, but sometimes I don't want that. I want something like a very cold, very crisp salad leaf or something like that. Or some cucumber, something juicy.
The prawns are done as soon as they've turned pink.
I love your little oven.
It's great, isn't it?
It's just great. So, these aren't going to be long, they're almost ready.
Perfect.
But they taste a lot better in the fresh air.
Lettuce, there you go. Crunchy stuff.
Some very hot prawns, a bit sizzly.
It's fantastic.
Is that mint?
That is mint.
It's great.
You dream of this at sea.
That's good, lovely, isn't it?
I'm liking the lettuce.
I'm liking the mint. That really does give it a freshness, doesn't it?
It's delicious, really good. There's only one thing missing from this.
I wonder what you're going to say.
It's a bit of long pepper. I think that would set it off.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Delicious, really good.
I love using the really hot spices to give a dish masses of fiery heat.
But equally, I like using the softer, gentler spices to provide something actually more interesting.
There is something very comforting about a warming, rustic meal. Tonight, I'm going to cook a simple tomato stew, given life and vigour with warm spices. Mild sweet onions are the backbone for this dish. A couple, roughly chopped, go into a little oil. And there's always garlic, of course.
I want the onions to cook until they're pale gold and starting to sweeten. And that way the dish will have a mellowness. It won't have that fiery bite that you get when you stir-fry things. This is much gentler, it's softer. It's altogether about the flavours of the spices, not just their heat.
But I do want a little heat in there, so I'm going to add some fresh chilli. Just one of these mild red ones with its fiery seeds removed.
And the recipe will be much gentler if I take those little white seeds away.
Add some cumin seed, warm and pungent.
A couple of teaspoons.
And brown mustard seeds. They have a very mellowing effect.
And then a little bit of turmeric. And this is what will really add the earthy notes. There's something very ancient about turmeric. It has that age-old flavour and gives a brilliant colour to your sauce. And straight away I'm smelling chilies and spices. But there's no real heat there. It's very different to when you use lots of fresh chilies. It's softer and warmer. Now to that, I'm going to add a can of tomatoes. And then a little bit of water. Now, there's so many things that I could use this for. I'd use it with fish or meat. I'm actually going to use this as a sauce in which to cook tomatoes.
These big vine tomatoes aren't just good in a salad. They're meaty enough to be the centrepiece of this dish.
And what will happen is that tomatoes will cook in their own spice and tomato-scented steam.
After 25 minutes, the tomatoes should be cooked through. But the dish itself is still a bit of a mystery.
The only real way to see what's going on is to get a spoon in there and taste it. Follow all the recipes in the world, but the only real way to tell is whether you like it or not. There's a softness to this, there's a mellowness but I feel as if I want it to be slightly richer.
I could add cream, but I think it needs the cooling tang of yoghurt.
Incredibly luscious. It's much smoother. It's got a softness to it. There's still spice there, but that spice is being cooled by the yoghurt. A wonderful tomato flavour. And it's got the background of the spices. And then there's that little nip from the sharp yoghurt. And it's an altogether very, very successful dish. I'd be very happy to eat that as my supper.
Ample on its own, this recipe would work well with lamb or fish, with its warm spices and its hint of yoghurt. It's simple, versatile, and so full of flavour. Spicy and cool, a simple but brilliant combination that can transform both sweet and savoury dishes. So when you're next cooking a favourite rich and creamy recipe, why not try adding a hint of something spicy? Next time, I'll be looking at two perfectly matched textures, soft and crisp. It's the secret behind great fish cakes, why pizza tastes so good, and why we all love a pie.
Something very soft and fluffy, encased in something crisp and crunchy. And it's textures that just work.